This is BBC World News with the latest news and results from around the globe. Sport Today.
Hello there, I'm Tolson Tollett and this is Sport Today, live from the BBC Sports Centre. Coming up on this programme, Chelsea beat Borussia Dortmund to make it through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Benfica joined them in the last 8 after thrashing Belgian side Club Brugge. And the PGA Tour's Rory McIlroy says Saudi-backed Live Golf has benefited the sport.
Liv's come along and it's benefited everyone that plays professional golf at a high level. Like I'm not disputing that.
Hello there and welcome along to the program. We'll start with the Champions League, where we have our first quarter-finalists. Chelsea trailed Borussia Dortmund 1-0 from the first leg, but turned it round at Stamford Bridge, where Natalie Perks watched the game.
Well, Chelsea came into this match with rumours swirling about the future of their manager, Graham Potter. Tonight they needed to overturn a 1-0 deficit from the first match, with Dortmund on a fantastic run. 10 wins on the spin for them. In contrast, Chelsea are languishing 10th in the Premier League with the fewest goals scored of any of the sides in that top 10. And it's a far cry, really, from the Champions League team that won back in 2021, less than 2 years ago, under Thomas Tuchel. Since then, they've spent $600 million in the last 2 transfer windows, and the owner, who was here tonight, Todd Boehly, would have expected more of a return from that cash. But they made a fast start, and they thought they'd actually scored through Kai Havertz, but that was ruled offside. A strong save from Kepa was the theme of the night, really. He kept them in this tie at times, kept them in the game, and then Raheem Sterling brought them level in this tie with a calmly taken goal just before half-time at a critical time. Chelsea hadn't scored 2 in a match since October, but just after the break, a handball in the Chelsea box, flagged by VAR, bought Chelsea a chance to make it 2. Kai Havertz remarkably hit the post again, but the referee made him retake it, and second time was a charm. And it's now Chelsea and not this resurgent, buoyant Dortmund who are into the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Their only chance of silverware this season, and these fans, they still believe.
Well, it was much more straightforward for Benfica against Club Brugge. They turned their 2-goal first-leg lead into a 7-1 aggregate win. The biggest surprise was that it took until the 38th minute for them to go ahead on the night through Rafa Silva. 2 goals from Gonçalo Ramos, either side of half-time, then made the tie safe for the Portuguese. A João Mario penalty and then one from substitute David Neres completed their scoring. It finished 5-1 in Lisbon after a late consolation goal for the Belgian side. UEFA will refund Liverpool fans who had tickets for the 2022 Champions League final in Paris. It follows a recent independent report that found UEFA bears primary responsibility for the chaotic scenes before the game against Real Madrid. Fans were penned in and sprayed with tear gas outside Paris' Stade de France as kickoff was delayed by 36 minutes. UEFA said the refund scheme covers all of the Liverpool FC ticket allocation for the final, which amounts to over 19,500 tickets.
I mean, all we've ever been seeking is the honesty and truth and justice from UEFA. So money certainly won't heal the hurt of those people who were traumatised or injured or attacked in Paris last year. But of itself, it's a real victory for fan activism. It's a first step on the road for UEFA to accept their culpability, because everything before this has been about words. So it's nice to see some action taking place. But this is only part of the journey. They have to complete everything else in order to make sure that any fan, whether it's a Liverpool fan, a Real Madrid fan, or any fans for future finals, can go to a match safely and without fear.
Rory McIlroy says the controversial Live Golf Series has forced the PGA Tour to innovate and adapt. The world number 3 said the controversial Saudi-funded series was dead in the water a year ago. But speaking ahead of the Players' Championship in Florida, He believes it's forced the sport as a whole to improve, though he insists the PGA Tour is still the place to be.
There's no doubt that Liv's come along and it's benefited everyone that plays professional golf at a high level. Like I'm not disputing that. But what we are trying to do and what the tour is trying to do is make the PGA Tour the best place to play professional golf in the world, and I think it still is, and I think it will be for at least the time being. The PGA Tour has been the biggest golf league in the biggest market in the world for the last 60 years. And because of that, it's had no reason to innovate or try to do something different or try to change. Everything's been going well. Since Live Golf came along, it's maybe exposed a couple of weaknesses in the system, and I think this is just trying to sort of fill those gaps in a little bit, to try to make the tour a little more attractive, not just for its players, but also for the media partners that pay so much money to televise these events, for the sponsors that pay so much money, and for the fans. You want to give that's what drives everything. If the fans really like what they're seeing, then everything else follows after that. So we're just trying to make it better for sort of everyone involved.
Tennis at Indian Wells begins on Wednesday, and it should be where we start to see which players will be the ones to beat this year. But there'll be no Novak Djokovic nor Rafael Nadal at the tournament, so Carlos Alcaraz and Daniel Medvedev will be looking to solidify their place at the top of the men's game, while Iga Swiatek will be looking for another year of dominance in the women's game. Here's our tennis correspondent Russell Fuller in California.
Medvedev doesn't traditionally like the conditions here in the desert. The matches are played on a hard court, which is Daniel Medvedev's speciality. He loves the hard courts. He's a US Open champion. But actually, the conditions here sometimes suit clay court players. The ball flies through the air, but because we're in the desert, it's really quite unique. And actually, at times you find the players who have a better clay court record tend to perform best at Indian Wells. Carlos Alcaraz, a little bit of an unknown quantity just because he wasn't able to play in Acapulco last week, and he did have that hamstring problem, that leg problem in the final in Rio against Cameron Norrie just a few days earlier. So we'll see whether he can ease his way into the tournament, which of course is what the top players are so adept at doing. Can Iga Swiatek defend her title? She won both Indian Wells and Miami last year with that amazing unbeaten run, which lasted for 4 or 5 months, and she became the undisputed world #1.
Football Federation Australia officials are hopeful that FIFA will abandon plans to have Saudi Arabia's tourism authority sponsoring the Women's World Cup later this year. Co-hosts Australia and New Zealand recently asked FIFA to urgently clarify reports Visit Saudi was to be an official sponsor for the tournament, but are yet to hear back. The Gulf Kingdom has been accused of human rights abuses. England pair Lucy Bronze and Kira Walsh say the sponsorship doesn't feel right.
If we want to push women's sport on, we want it to be supported by people who share the philosophies and the views that we share as players and as a game, which is supporting women, which is high-level sport, high-level football, fully inclusive. We welcome everybody to our sport. So we would like to think that, the people that support us and are pushing the game have similar views and interests and opinions as we do.
It is a difficult one, I think, obviously, if they're supporting the tournament. I think, in general, they probably don't support a lot of female players' lifestyles and kind of what we're about. And obviously we have to use that platform to kind of push our opinions and for what we think's right and for equality. And as Lucy said, the women's game is very inclusive, but I think there's a fine line of when you get to the tournament, trying it not to be too political. I think when we get there, it's all focus on playing and kind of performing. So for me, there's a fine line of kind of using your platform to push your opinion, and obviously we want the best and we want inclusivity, but equally, it's not about going there and it being political at the same time.
In cycling's Paris-Nice, Jumbo-Visma won the Stage 3 team time trial on Tuesday, finishing just 1 second clear of EF Education Easy Post. And they won with a time of 33 minutes 55 seconds over the 32-kilometre course. It moved 3 of their riders into the top 5 of the general classification. But it was Magnus Cort of EF Education Easy Post who moved into the race leader's yellow jersey after helping them to 2nd position.
Yeah, it's incredible to have so many strong guys with me, and of course we are very happy about the victory today, and yeah, in the end it was a very nice day for us, and I'm very happy and thankful for the team I have.
That's about all we've got time for. Just a quick reminder of our top story that Chelsea and Benfica are through to the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals. That's after they have respective victories over Borussia Dortmund for Chelsea and for Benfica over Club Brugge. All of that on the website. Till next time though, bye-bye.